Hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar where we'll be discussing unifying project teams with Microsoft Project and teams using OnePlan. My name is Doug Welsby and I'm the channel manager here at Microsoft. I'm also joined by my colleagues Jim Patterson, our Director of Sales, and Matt Willey, our OnePlan Product Specialist. During today's webinar, attendees will be on mute and the line will not be open for questions. However, feel free to use the GoToWebinar question feature to submit questions. I will address these questions during the webinar and will respond via email if we do not get to your specific question. If for some reason you get distracted or pulled away from the webinar, no need to worry, as I will be emailing a link to the presentation once it has been posted to our YouTube channel. And with that, I'll now turn the presentation over to Jim, who will be handling the webinar.
Thanks for the introduction, Doug. Welcome everybody, and thank you for spending some time with us today. Today we're going to talk about combining these Microsoft technologies in the Office 365 platform to provide better productivity and unifying your project teams collaboratively. First, let's talk about the landscape that we're really coming into in the marketplace today. You know, more and more our teams are actually unilaterally choosing their own tools to work in, and they really want to be able to work the way they want. It's not like the old days when different tools were provided and you had to make the tools that were provided work for you. With the proliferation of cloud and the easy access to spin up lighter weight tools to do things, it's more and more prevalent that this is occurring within organizations so that people have tools that are commensurate to the way they work. If you look at it, the ways we work are changing too. 73% of companies are now using agile methods for managing their projects, but still almost a like number, or 69% of companies are still using more of the predictive traditional waterfall types of approaches for project management as well. So there's different needs for different folks depending on the nature of the work that they're doing. Our teams also want simple visual tools as well to help them start fast and get ramped up without a lot of training or orientation. That's really the demand or the expectation of the millennial generation. Surprisingly, 50% of the workforce will be comprised of millennials by 2020, and that number will go up to 75% by 2025. In order to get folks to use the tools that we want them to use, they have to be easy to use. Even as things get more complex on the back end with things like artificial intelligence and heavy computation and data analysis, the user experience on the front still has to be simple so that we can get in, we can work without a lot of training and preparation, and so more people can participate. And our key processes are spanning the enterprise, meaning cross-functional, cross the globe as far as distributed teams. And the idea here is the need to adapt and automate tools that have that type of reach so that we can get everybody involved is becoming more and more of a need. So analysts are finding that 79% of companies need cross-functional collaboration within their work efforts. And another trend by the IT analysts is that large organizations will more and more be enabling non-IT staff to perform integrations, meaning how they can hook in the tools that they're using and make them work more collaboratively together without the need for IT or programming for those types of things to happen. So we need to be able to adapt and automate our tools to fit our processes and reach our audiences. The net result is that even today, there is a wide proliferation of tools being used across the organization. If you just use this as a sample, if we look down the y-axis as far as the different functions, demand management, portfolio management, project management, time management, reporting and analysis, and then go across the upper x-axis on the different functional areas within a company, you can see to perform these functions, it's not atypical to see something like this, where people are using a combination of targeted tools, general office applications, spreadsheets, and other things to make these things work. And the idea here is that the more and more we have disparate tools being used, the less connection we have, the less collaboration we have, and the less cohesion in the way we're doing work. And so the idea is we want to be able to address this to make this a more streamlined process and something that's more meaningful to the organization and more effective for us to perform. So imagine a world where you can do all these things, communicate and collaborate, access third-party apps that you already use and love and may have selected for your teams, automate routine tasks, create low-code or even no-code solutions to help streamline workflows and business process. Even integrate business process with your line of business applications like your ERP or financials, all in a single hub to include things like your files, your email, your dashboards, your conversations, your chats, meetings, calls, all that type of thing, all in one forum. That's really where things are headed. And Microsoft Teams is really that hub. It's really that place where all these things can happen and converge. Microsoft just passed a milestone here in the last couple of months where it has officially become the most quickly adopted Microsoft product in the history of Microsoft, given where they've been with Windows and Office in general and all those types of things. That's quite an achievement for this Microsoft Teams, and I think it speaks to addressing the need of the way people work today. Social approaches to these, persistent one-on-one or group chats, and having that inherent in everything we do with the groups and the teams that we work with in this common platform is one of the attractions to this, so that we can have ongoing communications with the people that we actually communicate with the most, or that we need to on an ad hoc or sporadic basis. Being able to do powerful online meetings, be able to take that conversation to the next level, either schedule or even ad hoc on demand, get into a audio or video meeting or discussion with somebody, makes the personalization of those cross-functional teams, or even with external folks and partners that we might work with in the organization or customers. The idea is to be able to do that on demand within the forum within Microsoft Teams is something that's very convenient and very powerful. And also integrating calling and voice, being able to pick up and call anybody that's in your environment or even outside to a landline or a cell phone. And the idea is to be able to go to those people directly in the context of the work that I'm doing and say, you know, I got a question for someone and I want to ping this person and actually have a conversation with them, not just in chat, but decide to talk if they're available. Is something that's very convenient and something that's part of this mix. And then also that user-based integration, the ability to be able to incorporate into your teams the different Office 365 applications, and to be, for that matter, even non-Microsoft applications, and be able to bring those into the team so that you can get quick access to those and share information from those applications with other people in your teams, is something that really makes productivity more effective, and it really takes it to the next level into a modern user experience. And this powerful platform really allows you to incorporate into your personal teams and workspaces the apps and the services that you love. Being able to integrate these things in, a growing number of these are available as services that you just point and click and add them into your teams. As you'll see from the chart there, and they're not all Microsoft-specific applications. Obviously, the Microsoft-specific things are growing more and more in here, but I've actually spoken with some customers who actually have people who spend their entire day in Teams now and never leave it, whether it be for their email or their calendar like you see here today, as well as their more targeted collaboration team-based type of communications and meetings, etc. One of the keys here, as Microsoft Teams is actually adding value as a hub that brings in things together, there are still some things that are straggling a little bit. A lot of folks are using the most widely used scheduling tool in the world today, which is Microsoft Project on the desktop, Standard Project Professional. But it is still a little bit somewhat disconnected from the Project Team Hub. The idea here is that we've got all these other things, our SharePoint, our OneNote, our Power BI, et cetera, in Microsoft Teams. But there's folks out there using Project on the desktop today that are still communicating by sending PDFs of their schedules around, or sending copies of the file around, and people not wondering if they're working at on the current version of the project plan or whatever it might be. And so it's still kind of loosely sitting out here in a disconnected fashion from the rest of the Project Team Hub. So what we can do is we can connect this into the Team Hub and actually make this part of the overall mix, much like the other applications that are out there. And so with Project on the desktop, we can actually bring those together with OnePlan from Microsoft. OnePlan really can end up being that conduit, the one that makes the transition from Microsoft Project on the desktop into a more of a web-based, Microsoft Teams-based collaborative format that allows people to share that information and provide bi-directional feedback from project teams, meaning that project managers can build plans, they can assign people to work, and they can actually publish that out so that people in Microsoft Teams can see what's on their plate, provide feedback, and have that bi-directionally flow so that we can get updates in an effective fashion and really work within the spirit of what Teams is intended to do in a more collaborative fashion. So what is OnePlan? It really is a all-in-one work management tool, connecting even strategic level things down to the execution things that we're talking about here today with Microsoft Project. In this graphic here you see today, Microsoft Project at the bottom in the middle is a feeder into OnePlan in Teams. So meaning that those project plans that you're building and using the powerful capabilities of Project on the desktop, those can be easily published into Teams via this mechanism. We can also use things like in the lower left, we're looking at Office 365 Planner, which is the most incorporated tool right now these days into Microsoft Teams, as well as things that people for the Agile teams, things like Azure DevOps and things that were formerly called Visual Studio Team Services that we see down there on the lower right. The idea is to provide these things and provide input from your various execution tools like we stated at the outset. There may be a variety of execution tools being used by different people in different teams and be able to have those converge in here and actually be incorporated into the tactical plans that you can view in this collaborative forum. So the idea here is you can get started fast. If you have existing Microsoft project plans, for example, you can easily publish those with OnePlan. Then the idea is to get those into Microsoft Teams in a web-based collaborative fashion, whether they're simple task lists, whether they're full work breakdown structures with Gantt charts, etc. The idea is that it's an easy way to provide this for your team without sending static images or PDFs around about the schedules and information that you're trying to share about your projects. You can also assess the impact of new work. By doing this, you get the ability in Teams to have your team members be able to look at their specific work, like tasks that they've been assigned, and provide completion status, or mark them as complete, or providing updates, and have that information flow back to the project manager so they can review it and accept it into their Microsoft project plan. So the idea is really what we're talking about is enabling a closed loop process, whereby that Microsoft project desktop plan that was standalone at one point now becomes interactive with the team so they can actually update those things, do it in the context of teams where they're doing other things, and have that information flow back electronically to the project manager. Instead of corralling people around a conference room table and polling them about progress and then taking notes and transcribing that update into your project plan. This all happens in a closed loop, efficient process. And then you could also choose, once that information is published into Teams, and OnePlan is you can manage your projects your way. Like I mentioned, it could be a simple task list. It could be a robust Gantt chart, but that information can be used and interacted with in more of a Kanban or card style type of approach, moving through different phases or stages and using different methods. And you can even alternate between the way you do that on different projects or even within the same projects. The idea is the user experience now is more tailorable based upon the preferences of the user. And also, once you start allocating resources, if that's something that you like to do to your project plans, being able to manage that resource demand and taking that published information and getting visualizations and heat maps of where people might be over and under allocated on these project plans, and actually have that be part of the mix and effectively be able to see what people are assigned to, and seeing if we are over or under allocating people and understanding if that is going to impact our ability to deliver on our projects is something that can be done right from within Teams with the use of OnePlan. And then ultimately, because we're getting all this data aggregated, we can now use that data in various ways for dashboards and analytics with a variety of visualizations, leveraging the data that's been published from that Microsoft Project desktop file. And the idea is you can actually have standard dashboards that you have for the team. People can do ad hoc queries and other things around that to make more useful benefit of that information for their organizations and not have to do manual data mashups or the things that they might have to do to aggregate these things from files like Microsoft project files, spreadsheets, etc. So with that, just to tee up those concepts, all of these things are here today. And Matthew Willey's here to demonstrate these capabilities to you and show you how it can be done using Microsoft Project and Teams today. Take it away, Matthew.
Perfect. Thanks, Jim. All right, so I'm logged in here into Teams. You can see across the left there are many different teams that I am a part of. Right now, I'm in the VoIP Phones team, and that particular team is focused around a particular project that we're working on, this VoIP Phones project. The first thing that you'll see here is the conversation stream that's been going on around this particular project. You'll notice I've praised someone here and said, hey, good job, thanks for being a leader and helping out on this project. And to do that, there's many different capabilities here within Teams and within the conversations stream itself. You can come in and you can add a variety of different apps. There's a ton to choose from here that all can tie into Teams and really add on to those capabilities, like this particular one here, where you could praise people. There are also bots that you can come and utilize. So if I come in here and I go at and say get bots, there are many different bots to many different tools that you may already be using that can really help make your life easier to allow you to do things right from here without having to go somewhere else. As an example, there's an Azure DevOps bot, and right from the conversation stream here, you can create user stories, task bugs, etc., right into Azure DevOps right from here without having to leave and kind of come back, on the fly as you're communicating with people and such, and or link to things and so on and so forth. On top of the communication capabilities that are here, you can also store files. So every team comes with a file store where we can create different folders, upload our different files related to this particular project in this case, and manage and track those, share those with other people, so on and so forth. There's wiki pages that you can build into this. So in this case, I have a lessons learned page. So at the end of this particular project, I could come in and build out my wiki page here with all my lessons learned and build a rich, web page that we can then share and post for other people, to get this information. There's a OneNote notebook. So if I wanted to pop into OneNote and, keep all the notes as we're having status meetings, so on and so forth, put in my meeting minutes and things like that. All here, right from within Teams within one experience as we're having our meeting even. If you've ever used the Office 365 Planner, that's a great capability that you can utilize for very lightweight tasks, action items, so on and so forth, and drag and drop to update status on those. And again, all right from one experience. On top of that, we've embedded OnePlan into Teams. It's an app for Teams that allows you to then come in and kind of take this to the next level, especially if you're using Project Desktop and or wanting to do more of a waterfall project schedule. And so what you can see here is a view of my schedule, and that actually came out of Project Desktop. So I can start in Project Desktop, build out my schedule here, either from a template or from scratch, depending on what's needed for this particular project. There's an add-on here for Project Professional Desktop that allows me to then come in and hit publish. And when I do that, it's actually going to publish this into Teams, into OnePlan in Teams, so that then we can start to work on that, collaborate on that, and continue through the whole process that I'll continue to show you here today. As people make status updates to those tasks and say, yep, I finished this, and or track time on it, which I'll show you how that works here in just a second, you can then hit update and it'll come and it'll pull back any updates if there are any there waiting for you. Pull those back into your project schedule so you can get any status updates in time in the actual hours that people have been tracking onto this particular project. So once that's published into the web, then you get a web view of it here right through Teams. And so you can see I have my full project schedule here, and this is all usable. Right on top of that, I could also overlay a quick Gantt view if I wanted to look at more of a timeline Gantt type of view across this particular project. And there's even added capabilities on top of it now that I've published this here into OnePlan and Teams. For example, there's a feature in here called activities. And so what I can do is I can say show activities, and I'm doing it for this particular task. So I have this define preliminary resources task here. And what I want to do is, I don't want to necessarily build subtasks under this. I want to kind of keep my schedule higher level clean, but there's some action items, some to-dos, some things that need to happen to get this define preliminary resources task completed. And so what I can do is I can break out some activities down here below it, and you'll see these activities are in various states. Some are not started, some are in progress, some are completed. As I'm working on these, I can drag and drop these to update status. And once all of these activities are done, then I could come back up here and status and or close out that particular task. On top of that, maybe you want some communication to happen around this task. So by publishing it here into OnePlan and into Teams, I can then come and hit comments, and I can start to comment on this particular task and ask about, hey, I don't quite know what I need to do here. I have a question, or where can I get this information from, so on and so forth. And the project manager and the team members who are working on this can then communicate right within Teams on particular tasks as those are actually being worked on. There's other views then we can look at of this project schedule. Maybe I'm more interested in looking at a Kanban board of this particular schedule. I can come in and see all of those same tasks that are in my schedule, but broken down into a Kanban board view here right within Teams. To update status then, when we're having our status calls and such, I can drag and drop these items from one status to the next and make it super simple and easy. Those same comments that we saw are available right from here as well. And so it's just a different view. Even if you're not using Agile, this can be a very useful view for tracking visually the status of all the different work that's going on around a particular project. I can also flip this and look at it more from a resource management perspective. Which resources are working on which tasks in which periods of time here. And I can come in and I can look across all of that and see who's overloaded, who's not. Right now, I'm just looking at this particular project, and who's working on what in this project. But if I hit the Show All Work button here, what it's actually going to do is it's going to go across all of the different projects that have been published into OnePlan and Teams here. And now you'll see a full view of not just the work for this particular project, but the work for everyone who's working on this project across all of their projects. The other tasks show up kind of grayed out here, meaning I can't change them, I can't move them around. But they show up for visibility, and you can see that certain people are very overallocated, highlights them in red. Right now I'm looking at that in hours, but I could flip that to percents if I wanted to do so. And then I can actually start to make adjustments here to try to make sure that I'm not going to overallocate anyone too much with any period of time. So everything in here within this project anyway is actually editable. So meaning I can drag and drop and move these things around, and or I could go, well, Grace Williams has availability to help out with this. I can drag and drop this actually down to Grace and let Grace take on that particular piece of work so that we can avoid some of those resource issues that may happen otherwise. So you really get that full view across all projects, not just within this particular project as well. On top of that, right here from within Teams, as we're working on everything and updating our task status and uploading files and all the things I've showed already, we can also generate reports right here within Teams via Power BI. So there's an add-in for Power BI here, and there are lots of different applications that you can add into the mix. If I hit the add button here, I want to add a tab for each particular project, depending on the tools that you're using to go and manage and execute on that particular project. There's a lot of different connectors in here that you can connect in to add in other things that may be useful for getting this particular project done. In this case, we've added in our Power BI status report. And so right from here, I can see how's this project doing. And this status report will also be shared with stakeholders, with management, executives. And you can see here, here's the overall status, the financial status, the schedule status, and some other details around that particular project and what's going on. So far, everything I've shown is really from a single project view. It's a project manager working with the different resources on that project to get things done. And one of the cool things is we can also set up another team. In this case, we called it our EPM O Group, or our Enterprise Project Management Organization Group. And within here, we can, kind of look at things at a little higher level. So my communication stream here has all the same capabilities, But this is a higher level communication stream, not focused on any particular project. It's focused on our PMO as a whole. So, hey, there's this new document, I could come post that in here, new template, new process, whatever it might be, and or any other communications of events that are going on, things that are happening, and really keep a higher level stream here that people can get information from. There's also a file share in here again, but this file share might be a little higher level, meaning here's some presentation templates that you may need and want, as you're going and managing your projects. Some policies and procedures, there may be training materials in here, templates that you might want to use. So we can post things here so people have a quick, easy way to get the different documents and or templates that they might need to go and execute on their projects and programs, etc. We can also put an idea portal in here. And so within my idea portal, we can allow people to come in and submit ideas and or requests for new projects. So I could simply come in, hit the new button, fill out a little form, and then that'll go into the list of ideas here with some basic information that we can utilize to start tracking ideas in one place. And then when we're ready, we can then promote those into projects and then go start doing some more detailed planning and eventually actually executing on them. Instead of people sending emails and having Excel spreadsheets separately to try to keep a list of all of these different ideas and requests that are being brought up within the organization. From more of a team member's perspective, if I'm being assigned work, then I can come into the My Work view here and see all of the different work that's been assigned to me, those different activities as well as tasks and such. I can see all of those things that are assigned to me here, when I'm expected to be working on those. And as I complete things, I can come in and I can just check those off and complete those, as well as utilize the comment stream right from here as well that we saw earlier to really get that communication going back and forth. So that makes it kind of quick and easy to see everything I'm working on and update my status on that right from one place, right within Teams. If I need to fill out a timesheet, every week I have to say, what did I work on? How much time did I spend on these different projects that I'm working on and tasks and such? Then I can come right into my timesheet tab here in this particular team, put in all of the different time that I've been working on these different items, and then at the end of the week, I can come and hit submit and route this through an approval process so that I can get all my time filled out. And when that all tracks and flows all the way back into those project schedules that we showed earlier and up to those projects. So we can see how much time is being spent and translate that into cost if needed as well. Going down the line here, I can also come into more of a portfolio view where I'm now not looking at just one particular project. I'm actually looking across all of my different projects. In this case, I have it grouped up by portfolio, so you can see, okay, here's a particular portfolio, and here are the different projects that are going on below those, and you can see some status on these: overall health, schedule health, financial health. So I'm looking at a portfolio view of all the different projects that are going on. Based on permissions, I would only see the ones that I had access to. If I was someone that had access to all of them, then I'd see all of them. And you can see that some of these projects are being managed with many different tools. Some are being managed with Project Desktop. We have a connector as well to Azure DevOps. So if it's more of an an agile type of project that you're managing, and you're managing it over an Azure DevOps, we can connect that in and let that flow up into this portfolio and the resource views and reports and such as well. And many other connectors that are available even to other third-party applications like, say, Jira, Office 365 Planner, etc. Multiple different applications. So people can use the tools they want and the things that make most sense for those particular projects to execute on, but then let that all roll up into one place, one source of truth, one pane of glass, if you want to call it that. From within here, I can also pop open my Gantt and or timeline view, so I can see when these projects are all happening, and you can create dependencies between them as well. So you'll see these lines here show dependencies where, hey, as this project slips, that's also going to make this other project slip, and or this project can't start until this one starts. So you can keep track of your different dependencies, whether those projects are being managed in a waterfall, agile, or other way. Put relationships between them as needed. If I want to, I can flip into my portfolio level Kanban board, And so this is not showing tasks and such. This is showing the actual projects themselves and how they're laid out in a visual way in their different stages. So some of them are in the create stage, some are in the select, plan, manage, et cetera there. If I want or need to present more of a roadmap view to stakeholders, to the business, to executives, to customers, whoever it might be, of when these projects are going to happen, there's also a roadmap view in here, and I can come and show this in many different ways and see where these projects are laid out, how much progress has been made on these, as well as it shows those dependencies that I pointed out earlier. Right from here, if I want to, I can print this, and/or there are Power BI reports to show all of this information in many different ways, again, which can be accessed right here through Teams. No need to go separately out to Power BI. I can come in and I can look at my portfolio level reports right here from within this EPM O group, assuming I have access to do so. So high-level dashboards that show a variety of information, as well as more like health summary reports showing my different projects, the KPIs that we're tracking around those projects and such, that I can then share out with, whoever necessary to get these particular pieces of information, as well as more resource management focused, from a resource side, seeing who's working on what, who's available or not, right? All of this information that's in here that we're tracking can all then roll up into these reports and be available for visibility to make decisions and such across all. So with that, you can see how all right from Teams, I can do everything that I need to do to manage a project, to work on a project, to report on my projects, to see portfolio views across resources, fill in timesheets, all of the different aspects that may go around these different projects can all be done right here within Teams. And it really makes one unified experience, so I don't have to keep bouncing between different tools. They can all be kind of pulled together in one place and make it really easy for everyone to get to what they need. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it back over to Jim for just a couple more slides, and then we'll let you guys go for the day. So there you go, Jim.
Thanks, Matthew. All right, let's do a little bit of a summary and a wrap up here. Just to summarize that great demonstration, what are we really messaging here to you today? One is the combination of Microsoft Project on the desktop and Teams with OnePlan as the conduit provides a common form, Teams does, for all communications and work. It does provide you with a more modern user experience that is expected by today's workforce, as we talked about the rise of a younger workforce. And we can also incorporate the tools that are appropriate for any user role, maturity, or the type of work that's being done. It also can help us support a variety of execution methodologies, more traditional waterfall, agile, or some hybrid of those things, is even using more Kanban type of approaches. And it can also help you improve adoption by streamlining the access to these tools and information, and improving and streamlining the navigation as well. Ultimately, if this provides a better user experience, it will provide the benefit of driving better participation and compliance, meaning you'll get more up-to-date information and more people participating in the process. Another value is this is all done in Office 365, meaning if you've invested in the Office 365 platform, you're leveraging it and extending the value that you're receiving from that platform by adopting and maximizing the use of Teams, which is the fastest adopted product in Microsoft history, as we said earlier in the webinar. Also, these things really promote better overall collaboration across all areas of the business, across silos, across geographic locations, etc., and helps us to be more effective across all those things. We intended to show you all those things today, and I think Matthew did a great job of showing it in action. A little bit about Wickersoft. We are a global company. We were founded in 2002 as a joint venture with Microsoft. So not only are we a technology partner with Microsoft, we're actually a business partner with Microsoft. And either through both organic growth and through acquisition, we've actually grown our footprint over the years. So we provide a substantial set of capabilities and geographic reach for you to support you, especially if you're a multinational company. We are here to support you to whatever degree you want. We talked to you about solutions today in the middle, and we help people implement those, and we provide IP of our own, like OnePlan, to help really extend those things to the degree that people want them. And then we provide any of the consulting and advisory services around that, whether it be transformation, strategy and planning, change management, et cetera. And then operationally, we help people with either consulting or staffing that they might need to help fulfill in their organizations. We provide managed delivery or managed services so that we can help operate these things for you if you need someone to do that, and any training and support to help you become effective at all this as well. Next steps. If you are interested in what you saw today, we're happy to give you a free mini assessment and roadmap of what it would take to get you from where you're at today into some of the things you saw here today. If you're a little farther down the road and really close to pulling the trigger on the decision and you want to get your hands on, we can actually help you with a trial working with this stuff and have chaperoned Wickersoft support through that trial so you get the most out of that effort on that. And we gave you some generalized examples today in the demonstration, but if you want something, if you have some your own requirements you'd like to address, contact us and we'll schedule a personalized one-on-one demo so we can specifically address the things, the challenges or the pain points that you have that you're trying to address in your own organizations. You can reach out to us for these things at contact@wickersoft.com. For more information, we have a couple of websites you can check out, us.wickersoft.com generally for what Wickersoft provides overall, and more specifically on OnePlan, go to oneplan.ai. We also have a whole set of on-demand and upcoming webinars. We do these on a very regular basis. And if you go to us.wickersoft.com/webinars, you can actually see what's coming up and actually go through our library of all the different webinars we've recorded and look at things that it might be of particular interest to you. And there's a lot of things we've done on OnePlan and Teams and other things like that. Just specifically, our next webinar on August 8th, we'll take this and we're going to do a whole series of these things on Teams and OnePlan and other aspects of that. But just-in-time resource planning for better strategy realization and getting a little bit more in-depth into the resource planning side of that. The URL is down below, but you can just go to the URL I showed you earlier on our webinars and you can register for that as well. So with that, I hope you found value in what we presented today. I want to thank you again for spending that time with us, and we hope to encounter you and support you and help you with your challenges and the things you're trying to do in your organizations moving forward into the future. Have a great day.